My beloved child, I know you are reading this in a moment when the room is quiet, but your heart is anything but still. There is a weight pressing on your chest that you haven't spoken out loud to anyone, not even to those who love you most, because you're afraid they wouldn't understand the depth of what you're carrying. But I understand it. I have seen every tear you've hidden behind a smile, every prayer you whispered so quietly you weren't even sure I heard it. I did hear it. I hear you now. And before this message ends, I want you to know something that will change the way you see this season of waiting you're in. Don't skip what comes next, because it was written for this exact moment in your life. You have been asking me questions in the dark. Why is this taking so long? Why does it feel like doors keep closing when you promised me a future? Why do the people around me seem to be moving forward while I feel stuck in place, watching the calendar pages turn without any answers? Child, I need you to hear this clearly. Your delay was never me abandoning you. While you were losing sleep over what wasn't happening yet, I was rearranging things you couldn't see, protecting you from paths that looked golden but would have led you into ruin, and preparing people, timing, and doors that are still being built for you right now. The silence you interpreted as absence was actually me working so carefully that rushing it would have broken the very thing I'm trying to give you. Stay till the end, because there is a truth I need to plant in you before you close this video and go back to your ordinary day. You were not created to live in survival mode, constantly bracing yourself for the next disappointment. I did not bring you this far to leave you standing at the edge of your breakthrough with nothing. Something meaningful is still waiting for you, something you have prayed for in seasons when you thought I had forgotten the sound of your voice. I have not forgotten. I never once stopped writing your story, even on the nights you assumed the pen had been put down for good. What I am about to reveal to you next will explain exactly why this waiting season has felt so unbearably long, and why it is closer to ending than you have allowed yourself to believe. Why, child, let me take you back to a moment you have replayed in your mind more times than you'd like to admit. There was a night, or maybe it was a morning, when you almost gave up believing that anything good was still coming your way. You sat with your hands over your face, and somewhere between the exhaustion and the ache, you whispered words you thought were only for yourself. But I was closer to you in that moment than the breath in your lungs. I caught every word before it even left your lips fully formed. That night was not a defeat, though it felt like one. That night was the turning point where I began moving in ways you are only now beginning to notice, small shifts that don't look like much yet but are the first threads of a tapestry I have been weaving since before you were born. You keep looking at what's missing, the job that hasn't come, the relationship that hasn't healed, the dream that still feels like it's hanging just out of reach. But I want to show you what you haven't been looking at. I have been placing people in your path who will matter more than you realize, softening hearts that once seemed hardened against you, and closing doors on purpose because behind them was a version of your life that would have cost you your peace. Every no you have received was not cruelty from my hand, it was mercy wearing a disguise you couldn't recognize in the moment. Don't skip past this truth, because it is the hinge on which the rest of your story turns. What looks like refusal is often protection, and what looks like silence is often preparation happening at a depth you cannot see from where you're standing. There is a reason your spirit stirred enough to find this message today, out of every video, every moment you could have spent scrolling past. I orchestrated that. Nothing about this is random, not the timing, not the ache in your chest, not even the tears that might be forming right now as something inside you recognizes truth when it hears it. Something meaningful is still waiting for you, and it is nearer than you think, closer than the breakthrough you imagined would come with fireworks and instead is arriving quietly, the way I so often choose to move. Stay with me a little longer, because what I want to show you next is the part of your story you have been too afraid to hope for, the part where everything you thought was lost gets returned to you in a way only I could design. My child, I want to tell you about the return I have been planning for you, because you have carried loss in places no one else could see. Maybe it was years you feel you can't get back, relationships that ended before you were ready, or a version of yourself you buried somewhere along the way because life demanded you grow hard just to survive it. I saw every one of those losses. I did not look away from a single one, and I did not forget a single one either. What the world takes from you, I have a way of returning that is stranger and more beautiful than simple replacement. I don't just hand back what was lost, I transform it, so that when it returns to you, it carries a weight of glory the original never had. The years you thought were wasted are being redeemed even now, woven into a testimony that will speak louder than the pain ever did. I know there is a fear living quietly underneath your hope, the fear that maybe this time will be different, that maybe you'll believe again only to be disappointed again. Child, bring that fear to me instead of burying it deeper. I am not a man that I should lie to you, and I am not slow the way you measure slowness. What feels like delay to you is me perfecting timing you cannot yet see the full shape of. Don't skip this part, because I need you to understand that your breakthrough was never dependent on your strength holding out. It was always dependent on my faithfulness, and my faithfulness has never once failed, not for anyone who kept turning their face back toward me even in their weakest moment. You have kept turning back to me. That alone tells me everything I need to know about where your heart truly is. So here is what I want you to carry with you when this video ends and the noise of the day returns. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not too broken, too tired, or too late for what I have prepared for you. Something meaningful is still waiting for you, and it has your name written on it in a way nothing else in this world does. I am not finished with your story, not even close, and the very fact that your heart is stirring right now, reading these words, is proof that I am already moving on your behalf in ways you will look back on and recognize as the exact moment everything began to change. My child, there is something I have wanted to tell you for a long time, and I believe today is finally the day your heart is ready to receive it. You were never meant to walk through this season carrying the full weight of it alone, piecing together strength from wherever you could find it, pretending to others that you had it all figured out when inside you were quietly falling apart. I saw those moments when you smiled through gatherings while your heart ached in ways no one at the table could imagine. I was there in the car after you left, when the mask came off and the tears finally came. I did not just witness those moments from a distance, I was holding you through every single one, closer than you have ever given me credit for. Don't skip this, because what I'm about to show you will help you understand why I let you feel the full weight of it before I stepped in to lift it. There is a purpose behind the pain you don't yet see clearly. I never wasted your suffering, even when it felt senseless, even when you begged me for an explanation that never seemed to come. Some of what you walked through was refining you into someone with a depth of compassion you didn't have before, someone who will one day sit across from another hurting soul and know exactly what to say because you lived it first. Some of it was stripping away things you thought you needed but that would have kept you small, comfortable, and far from the fullness I have for you. I was not punishing you. I was preparing you, layer by layer, for a version of your life that requires the strength only this kind of fire can produce. The very thing that nearly broke you is the thing I am going to use to build something in you that cannot be shaken again. Stay with me, because there is still more I want to give you before this moment between us ends. Something meaningful is still waiting for you, something tied directly to the very pain you have carried the longest, because I have a habit of turning your deepest wounds into your most powerful testimonies. You will stand one day in front of people who need exactly what you now carry, and you will realize that nothing, not one tear, not one sleepless night, not one unanswered prayer, was wasted. I am gathering every fragment of what felt broken and I am building something whole. What I want to reveal to you next is how close that day truly is, closer than you have let yourself believe. My child, I want you to picture something with me for a moment, not as a distant dream but as a promise already set in motion. Picture the morning when you wake up and the heaviness that has followed you for so long is simply gone, not because the circumstances changed overnight, but because I finally finished the work I was doing in your heart while you waited. That morning is coming. I am not speaking in vague comfort meant to soothe you for a moment and fade by evening. I am telling you plainly that the version of you who carries this weight is not the final version. There is a lighter you, a freer you, a you who looks back on this exact season and marvels at how far I carried you when you thought you were walking alone. Don't skip this, because I need you to let that picture take root in you before the noise of your day tries to convince you otherwise. You have spent so long believing that healing has to look like everything falling perfectly into place all at once. But I want to show you something different about how I work. I heal in layers, the way morning light doesn't flood a room all at once but spreads slowly until every corner is touched. You may not feel completely whole today, and that is alright, because I am not finished. What matters is that the process has already begun, even in ways you haven't noticed yet, in the small moments when you manage to breathe a little easier, when a memory that used to wound you didn't sting quite as sharply, when you found yourself hoping again without even meaning to. Those are not accidents. Those are signs that I am moving through you, gently, patiently, refusing to leave any part of you untouched by my love. Something meaningful is still waiting for you, and I want you to understand that it is not just an event or a blessing arriving on a single day. It is a whole unfolding, a season of restoration that will touch every area you thought was beyond repair. Stay with me a little longer, because the next thing I want to show you is how the very people and situations that once hurt you the most are being repositioned, without your effort, into instruments of your restoration. What was meant to destroy you, I am already turning into the foundation of everything you are about to become. My child, I want to speak to you now about the people you have carried in your heart with unresolved pain, the ones who left without explanation, the ones who hurt you and never apologized, the ones whose names still catch in your throat when you think about everything that happened between you. I know you have tried to forgive them 100 times, only to feel the wound reopen the moment their memory surfaces again. I am not asking you to pretend the pain wasn't real. I am asking you to trust me with what you cannot fix on your own. Don't skip this, because what I am about to show you will change how you carry those memories from this day forward. I am not asking you to reconcile with everyone who hurt you. I am asking you to let me carry the weight of what they did, so it no longer has the power to shape who you become. Here is what I know that you don't yet see clearly: some of those people were never meant to stay in your story past the chapter they were given. Their leaving, as painful as it was, cleared space for what I have been preparing to bring into your life. I do not waste an ending. Every door that closed with pain attached to it was making room for a door that opens with peace attached instead. And for the ones who are still in your life, the ones whose relationships still feel strained or distant, I am working in ways you cannot force or rush. Some hearts take longer to soften than others, but I have never once given up on restoring what feels broken, even when the timeline looks nothing like what you would have chosen for yourself. Something meaningful is still waiting for you in this area you thought was permanently unhealed. Stay with me, because the freedom I am offering you is not dependent on anyone else's apology, anyone else's change of heart, or anyone else's willingness to make things right. Your peace was never meant to be held hostage by someone else's choices. I am setting you free right now, in this very moment, from carrying what was never yours to carry in the first place. And what I want to show you next is how this freedom becomes the doorway to blessings you could not receive while your hands were still full of what you needed to let go. My child, I want to talk to you now about the blessings you could not receive while your hands were still full, because this is the part of your story that is about to open in front of you. You have prayed for provision, for breakthrough, for doors to swing open in ways that finally make sense of everything you have walked through. But some of what you were asking for could not reach you yet, not because I was withholding it, but because you were still holding on to things that had no room to coexist with what I wanted to give you. Bitterness takes up space. Fear takes up space. The old versions of pain you kept rehearsing in your mind took up space that I have been waiting to fill with something better. Don't skip this, because the moment your hands opened to release what was never yours to carry, you made room for what has always been mine to give you. I want you to understand something about the way I provide, because it rarely looks the way you imagined it would. You have pictured breakthrough as one dramatic moment, a single miracle that arrives all at once and rearranges everything overnight. Sometimes I move that way. But more often, I move like a farmer tending a field long before the harvest is visible, planting seeds in seasons you didn't even recognize as sacred, watering things quietly while you were focused on what still looked barren. The provision you need is not arriving from nowhere. It has been growing the entire time, in relationships you almost gave up on, in skills you didn't realize you were building, in strength you didn't know you had until you needed it. What looks sudden to you has actually been growing in secret for longer than you know. Something meaningful is still waiting for you, and I want you to feel the weight of this truth settle into your spirit before this moment ends. You are not being punished by delay. You are being prepared for increase, because I do not hand abundance to a heart that isn't ready to steward it well. Stay with me, because what I want to reveal next is the identity I have been forming in you this entire time, the truest version of who you are, the one that was never defined by what you lost, what you lacked, or what others said about you. That version of you is closer to the surface than you think, and it is about to be revealed in ways that will surprise even you. My child, we have come to the place I have been leading you toward this entire time, and I want you to feel the significance of standing here with me. Everything I have shown you, the waiting that was never wasted, the losses that were never final, the pain that was quietly being turned into purpose, all of it was leading to this moment where I reveal to you who you actually are beneath everything the world tried to convince you of. You are not the sum of your failures. You are not defined by the people who walked away or the doors that closed before you understood why. You are mine, chosen before you had done anything to earn it, loved not because of your performance but because of who I am. Don't skip this, because what I am about to say is the truth I need you to carry with you long after this video ends. The truest version of you has never been the tired, worn-down version that has been surviving one hard season after another. That was never the final draft. The truest version of you is the one I saw when I formed you, the one filled with a strength you have only glimpsed in your hardest moments, a wisdom born from everything you endured, and a capacity to love deeply because you know what it costs to keep loving even when you are hurting. That version of you is not far away, waiting for some perfect future circumstance to unlock it. That version of you is emerging right now, in this season, through everything you thought was only breaking you. What felt like destruction was actually construction, and the building is nearly finished. Something meaningful was never just waiting for you somewhere out ahead. It has been forming in you this whole time, every tear counted, every prayer remembered, every quiet act of faith recorded and rewarded in ways you will fully understand one day. So walk forward now, not as someone bracing for the next disappointment, but as someone who knows they are held, known, and deeply loved by the one who never once looked away. Carry this truth into tomorrow, into every room you enter and every hard day you face. You were never alone in this, not for a single moment, and you never will be.